I dreamed I was a butterfly flitting around in the sky. Then I awoke. Now, I wonder, am I a man who dreamt of being a butterfly, or am I a butterfly dreaming that I am a man? That quote is merely words from the mind of Zhuangzi, but those words really get you thinking, don't they? In this speech, I'm going to be talking about dreaming. More specifically, Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung's modern theories on dreaming. To start it all off, I'm going to be talking about Sigmund Freud. Sigmund, who was born in 1856 and died in 1939, is considered to be the father of psychoanalysis. He believed that the mind was a complicated energy system. Sigmund believes that we all have urges, impulses, or tendencies that we push down below the surface in order to emerge ourselves in a civilized society. However, all of these impulses or urges or tendencies need to be let out at some point, don't they? That's what Sigmund thought. He believed that dreams were a way of letting these urges go, of setting them free. Much in the same way that smoking is a form of stress relief. Freud divided the aspects of our minds into 3 different parts. The first part he called id. It encompasses wish fulfillment, urges we never acted upon, our primal desires, pleasures, and impulses. The second part he named ego. Ego deals with the part of the mind that is more self-aware and conscious. The last part is titled superego. If id was an explicit song, the superego would be the radio edit or the censored version. It is also like ego, just infused with a bit more morals. However, in reference to dreaming, id is the part of the mind that matters the most. When you dream, all of your walls and filters are down. They have basically retired for the night with you. Sigmund believed that dreaming allowed you to see into the id, more or less. He believed that in the dream state, you were free to act on your hidden desires. However, he also believed that these hidden desires and urges could be extremely harmful in a psychological sense. And so, he proposed a filter, a censor that would take these urges and change them into something more symbolic. Yes, symbolic can be confusing, but it can apparently also be safe. In my visual aid, the 3 different parts of the mind that Freud described are represented. You see id, ego, and superego, and the visual aid also shows how they work together. Next, I'm going to talk about Carl Jung. Carl, who was born in 1875 and died in 1960, studied under Sigmund Freud. Much like Sigmund, he believed in an unconscious state of mind. However, he did not think that it was primal or barbaric at all. Carl thought that it was more of a spiritual state of mind. This difference in views is what led the 2 of them to go their separate ways. Carl thought that dreams were a way of familiarizing yourself with your own unconscious. He believed not that they were a representation of your deepest desires, but that they were like a tour guide, in a sense, on the way to what he liked to call wholeness. He believed that a dream also carries answers. Answers or solutions to questions or problems that may have been plaguing you prior to having the dream. Carl thought of ego differently than Sigmund did. Carl believed that your ego represented who you thought you were in the eyes of others. He also thought that all opposites went together. For example, he felt that love went hand in hand with hate, and that female went hand in hand with male. Carl also had an idea for a counter-ego, the opposite of ego. He called this state of mind the shadow. He believed that in this state, you were more in touch with the parts of yourself that you didn't want to accept or that you didn't want to acknowledge. And so, you oppress them and you don't acknowledge them. So now, what do you think about that quote? What do you think Zhuangzi's dream about being a butterfly really could have meant? Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung's theories could offer some insight, should you choose to acknowledge them.